We've all been fed a million, I'm not exaggerating probably, mixed messages about what it means to be healthy and how to get there. You feeling me? It's confusing, right? Well, the good news is that my guest in this Doodlecast, Anesa Kratovac, says it doesn't have to be so complicated. It doesn't have to be so complicated. What a thought. And that you can feel your way into better health. You can ease your way into that. So we're going to listen to her. We're going to do some doodling. So you not only find a way that feels good to you, but do the things so that you feel better and have better health for all the reasons that matter most to you. So welcome everyone. Here's what to expect from our time together. We're going to set some intentions, followed by a little bit of a doodle warm-up. After brief introductions, you'll get to hear from Anesa, a bioenergetics detox specialist, among other amazing things. We will process the information through some visualizations and doodling exercise, and we'll get to have a rich discussion through which everyone can identify the inspired action that they want to take next. All right, so let's kick it off with some intention setting. This is what doodling is all about. So have a read through and yell out the phrase that's jumping out to you today. What do you want to remember as we go into our session?
Let go.
Mess up.
Feel the flow.
I'm going to go with enjoy the process, especially when we're talking about health and what we're going to dig into next. I'm going to go with enjoy the process. All right, everybody, let's get warmed up, our doodling muscles warmed up. So I'm going to invite you, we're going to do this a little bit different this time. I'm going to invite you to write the phrase ease into health at the top of whatever paper you got. I don't care if it's a scrap piece of paper or what, but I'm going to invite you to write that phrase, eased into health. You don't have to be precious about it. And then I'm going to invite you to, in whatever fun way feels good to you, I'm going to invite you to draw some triangles into that title somehow, or around that title, or within that title. Just let yourself integrate some triangles into that space, however that looks like to you. And then I'm going to invite you to take this triangle a little bit further. And I want you to draw 3 more triangles that somehow take up the space of the rest of that piece of paper. They could overlap or not. They could be 3 different sizes or the same size. What are the 3 triangle types? Equilateral, acute, or isosceles? Oh my gosh, I'm remembering things.
You remember.
Go geometry skills.
Oh, that's amazing.
And
Sounds
so then,
different in French.
what'd you say?
Sounds so different than in French.
Yeah.
Isocell, isosceles.
Isocell. So this is what mine looks like. You guys want to just hold it up, see what 5 different results we have just by doing that? Yes.
Second part, yeah, just the first.
Yes. Yes. Perfect. 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 So Anesa and I were talking about how the triangle would be a really good shape to start off today because of the Trinity. Mind, body, spirit, health encompasses all of those things. And so it's a lovely little shape to kind of take into our doodling. And it can be something that you fall back on. So if you're in a doodling session and you feel really stuck, just draw some triangles. That will still give you the same benefits in your body, allow your mind to still open up and get clearer and connect the different parts of your brain together. All the benefits will come, even if you're simply doing a triangle. And then the other reason I wanted to do it this way for you guys today is because I love doodle notes. Like Nikki's really inspired me by some of her notes that she's taken during this these doodle casts. And I like to do it myself too, where you kind of have this mixture of doodling and words as I'm listening to something. So when you do doodle notes, you can activate, you know, auditory learning, you're activating visual learning and kinesthetic. So your attention and retention increases. So feel free to like doodle in without and around these triangles, add more to it, write words as Anesa shares amazing information with us today. We're going to do a quick check-in doodle. I'm going to put 1 minute on the timer. And I just want you to not overthink it, which is the reason why I do the timer, okay? So we're not overthinking it. We're going to doodle one thing that actually feels good about your health right now. About it, whatever comes up for you, 1 minute, just doodling about what feels good about your health right now. All right, start. So we're going to use these little check-in doodles to actually check in. And you could just say your name, where you're zooming in from, and hold up your doodle to say a few words about what feels good for you with your health. So I'm Karen, I'm zooming in from Cincinnati, Ohio in the United States. And I did mine on the same page. I did at the bottom. So what feels good? I'm gonna give Anesa a little plug here. She's got me drinking straight fruit in the morning right now, which is really energizing. I actually really enjoy it. And so does my partner, because I give him a bit of my amazing smoothie every morning. And then I go for these really great walks in the morning. So that part feels really awesome at the moment. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. So I'm here in Vancouver currently. I'm from Arizona, and I'm traveling. So part of my doodle is, you know, traveling and having energy to actually, you know, walk and to you know, have enough energy in the day to do what I need to do. So that's really important. When you travel, there's just so many logistics, you know, time zones, differences in, you know, weather, which is a big impact coming from Arizona. So that's a huge thing for me. And having energy to actually work and do what I do is very important. That's why bioenergetics is, you know, my medium of practice, and something that I really am inspired to share with people. So there's me with, you know, a lot of energy to walk and, you know, get some sunshine.
My name is Vanessa with a V. Calfine, I'm in the Caribbean, I'm in Mexico. And this is what I put as my cooking. Recently, I've been trying to be creative instead of looking at it as a chore. So I've been just kind of mixing things that I don't usually mix together for my cooking. And so I've been doing this as a fork, and I've been doing some sweet potato with, it's called longaniza. It's kind of like a chorizo, like if you've heard of that. So that's kind of what I've been eating a little bit before this session. And I'm just kind of taking pride of just being creative and not feeling like, oh, what am I going to eat? You know, just like the doodling, just in the spur of the moment, see what I'm going to have, and that feeds my soul, and not only my stomach.
When your food feeds your soul too. I love it.
My name is Nikki Smith, and I am in Arizona. And can you see it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm in the halfway point, well, almost to the halfway point of a 21-day Daniel fast, which is like fruits, vegetables, and grains. And so I've been eating a lot of green, drinking a lot of green, lots of water. And I'm feeling really strong because I'm doing a lot of Pilates and HIIT and yoga. So this is my yoga stance. These are supposed to be prayer hands. There's my weight.
I love this green stuff coming in the mouth. That's so great.
Yeah.
I'm Mary from Arizona.
Oh,
And,
Arizona is a theme.
Yeah.
Ladies.
I was thinking that. I
That's
thought, oh,
incredible.
wow, Arizona. I usually don't hear anybody from Arizona, so
I know.
my lucky day. And anyway, here's me. I'm just thankful to be still moving. And so that's my little doodle of moving.
I love it. I love the energy coming off of it. Thank you. All right. So Anesa's journey into natural wellness started years ago after years of suffering from chronic eczema and other health issues. She had always lived naturally and was drawn to approach her conditions holistically. Ultimately, she became her own healer and treated her conditions successfully. Anesa has studied many spiritual and ancient wisdom modalities for over a decade and has been helping others with some of the most effective natural detoxification protocols for the last 5 years. She is a certified natural health coach and is in the process of completing her MA in holistic wellness practice and metaphysics. Anesa is likewise highly versed in practicing medical astrology and numerology. She enjoys working with botanicals and incorporates various healing traditions and knowledge into her work, most notably bioenergetics, Ayurveda, and traditional Chinese herbal medicine. All right, Anesa, that is her. I also just, I had the pleasure of meeting Anesa a number of years ago in New Mexico, so Southwest, and we met woofing, which it stands for, like you work on organic farms and stuff like that. So I got to experience her passion and her love for what she's about to talk about firsthand and know how genuine it is and how curious she is, how much her passion has really led her to learning so many things and even more things since I met her a number of years ago. So Anesa, without further ado, the spotlight is yours.
Okay, ladies. So I do know that a lot of people think that, health is complex. So there's so much out there, in the medical industry, what we read, in journal, all of the medical, I would say scientific professional, from that perspective, seems very complex. So the way that people really approach health seems to be very scientific, very left-brained, very much to kind of look at the body as a machine, not as a holistic kind of triangular body, mind, soul type of entity. So, and that kind of came about, during the Industrial Revolution. So everything kind of became more mechanicized. So did also scientific studies, so did knowledge. So a lot of these issues came about as a way to quantify ways that we can, see health, see effects of health, see how we can kind of bring, all the, how should I say it, how to quantify and how to destructure the way that life is, because it's so complex. It seems so complex, but it's actually very simple. And so that's why, if you approach it very left-brained, you're going to get really lost in all the, the numbers, the, in terms of health, the vitamins, the minerals, the quantities, all of these things that really can take away from really understanding how health works, which is energy. So in terms of health, all you really have to know is how you and how nature relate to one another. So everybody's body is obviously very different. We all have, different builds, different genetics, and different energy that's constructed in our body. And this energetic body serves to show us how we can maneuver the world. And if you don't understand which fuel really best gets us to interact with the world in the highest way possible, then we're going to feel basically we're running on half a tank. So 50%. So I think when you look at the world, you see people running on, 20%, 30% of energy, and they could really be running at 80, 90, and they could have a really good life, and they could be healthy well into their older days. So why is that so? It's because what we're told about nutrition, and if you look at the nutritional pyramid, you're told you have to have specific amount of dairy, specific amount of meats, and all of that. That's incredibly misinformed in terms of what the body really, really needs. And if you look at who created the food pyramid, you can really trace it back to corporate money and food industry. So the big food industry, the dairy industry, the meat industry, they're all have a stake in terms of, what's being sold and what people really believe in terms of what they need for their health. And that's, you can look at that in terms of healthcare, you can look at that in terms of education. Where does money go, and how does that influence our decisions as human beings? So that being the background, I want to kind of demystify the complexity of what it takes to be healthy. It doesn't mean you have to get a certain amount of vitamins. It doesn't mean you have to get a certain amount of minerals. What it means is giving the body enough nutrition and energy that it can run and store a lot of that for later use. So a lot of us, when you think about the body as a chemical processor, chemistry, you can look at two sides of chemistry. There's more to it, but mostly you can look at the acidic side of chemistry and the alkaline side of chemistry. And then you can really understand how the body works. So in all of our, basically, in our lives, we have a lot of acidity and a lot of alkalinity. What it means, acid energy is contracting. It's very, it's denatures, and it makes us angrier. It makes us less, it constricts our ability. And when it comes to alkaline chemistry, it really nourishes us. So it could be feelings, it could be emotions, it could be food, it could be chemistry. So looking at those, how they operate, constricting and nourishing. You can also look at death and decay the same way. Life is nourishing, it's alkaline side of chemistry, and then death and decay is acidic. So if you know those principles, acidic and alkaline, you can better understand where you kind of fall into the whole scheme of things. So let's say you have health issues and you're suffering from low energy, you're angry, you're mentally not doing the best. You can 100% say that you are leaning towards the acidic side of chemistry, meaning your body is not in the optimal state of dealing with, modern effects of toxicity. The food that you're eating is not the best for you, or you're not processing the world, emotions, mental, your mental abilities in a way that really works for you. So what to do then? And just like, you can get energy from spending time with your friends or people who really nourish you, from a counselor that gives you great advice, so can you get energy from food. And what I discovered in my health journey is that food can be a reboot for all the cells in your body, or it can really put you even more behind in terms of acidity and what causes chronic disease. So and I wanted to just kind of bring about, describe what is acidity and what is alkalinity. When you think about how the body processes food, a lot of the times the digestion takes a lot of energy. So 70% of our energy goes into digestion every day. 30% goes into activity and thinking and processing information, but 70 is digestion. So if you're eating very complex foods, meaning foods that take a long time for the body to digest, assimilate, process, eliminate, those are going to be very taxing on your energy. And because a lot of us are don't eat really high energy foods, we use a lot of our energy, we eat a lot, we snack a lot, we spend our energy in ways that we shouldn't, even with other people, giving away our energy at work, through friendships, through not having maybe strong boundaries. That's where you can have a lot of energy leakage. And if you don't put more alkaline energy into your body in terms of, we're going to talk about which foods those are, but if you're eating complex foods and you're eating often, your body's going to be in constant state of digestion. So the best thing to do is, if you really want to improve your health, to go with simplicity, meaning eat really simply. Eat, if you do eat a lot of ingredients and a lot of foods at once, try to eat them slowly and eat one after the other. When you combine, you definitely make it more of a complex issue for the body. Then I also wanted to get into protein. Protein is a big thing out there, and there's a big misconception around it that it's so important for us that it's become one of the major nutritional aspects that we have to look after, that if you don't have enough protein, we're not going to be healthy. And having studied and having done the work that I've done with nutrition and seeing people really thrive on low protein diets, there's really a misconception to it. So I kind of wanted to get into why this is so. So protein is especially complex protein that comes from animal fats and even nuts. Like a lot of nuts do have complexity. So it takes, the body a long time to process them. And although it's a better source of protein than animal protein in many ways, what happens is the body takes a long time to convert these nutrients and to simplify the complex protein into amino acids. So that in itself is a really complex process. So what happens after the process is there's a lot of acidity that's created, and kidneys are the ones that flush out the uric acid and the acidity from the body. So the more complex proteins you ingest, the harder the body will have to fight to assimilate and purge the protein, which happens through the urine. What the body really needs is the amino acids. So proteins are the building chains. Proteins are the end product of the building chains that are amino acids. So the amino acids are the components that the body really can utilize, not the complex protein. So it does its job to actually process and break down all the compounds of the protein to get to the amino acid. But what if you ate just the amino acid and not the complex compounds, which is animal, protein and nut butters and all of that that's been kind of propounded on the society, like you have to do this or you're going to be weak. And the fact is that the body does not run on protein, it runs on simple sugars. Protein is a builder. So protein, a lot of the body can actually make a lot of its amino acids, essential amino acids. Some of them come from food. As long as you have the essentials, the body can make all the proteins it needs. We're eating too much protein, and it's causing, kidney damage. It's causing a lot of, arthritis issues, chronic inflammation. There's so much that the body cannot process on its own because it's on a weaker state. It's on an acidic state. So it doesn't have the self-healing capacity that it could have to deal with, all of these proteins we eat every day, all of these, complex foods and toxins. And so you have to alleviate what you put inside. And the way to do that is to not eat too much protein, to eat amino acids, which are found in fruits and vegetables, and to give the body a break. So don't eat too much, don't eat complexity. Just let the body take what it needs, simplify the digestion process, and don't and let the body create that energy from the foods by not having to digest and by using that surplus energy that it didn't need to use for digestion to heal. So that's where the self-healing mechanism of the body kicks in. When the body doesn't have to keep up with, digestion or, taking care of certain problems that will, cause damage or death, it goes into a self-healing process. So all you have to really do is give the body alkaline chemistry, which is found in fruits and vegetables, meaning this chemistry hydrates the body. It opens up all the channels for cleaning, and it helps the kidneys remove the acids from the body. And you have to reduce the acidic chemistry, which is complex, processed foods that are not found in nature, foods that are fried, animal fats, which are really hard for the colon and the kidneys to process. And to just simplify the process. And even if you do like these foods, give your body a break, meaning, one day you can eat more salads, more fruit. The next day you can have your, what you like. But giving that break to the body ensures that the cells have more energy and the body has more energy to self-heal. And a lot of us never do this. And people who suffer from chronic disease, they see that, they still keep the same diet. They go on, certain, chemical products to, help them suppress the symptoms, but they still don't actually change what's at the root of the problem, which is lifestyle, diet. And if they did, you would see, initially the body would maybe respond to the changes, which happens with detoxification. The body goes into a state of healing crisis, which means, okay, I'm acidic now, and now I have more alkaline chemistry. So all of the stuff that's been suppressed, the acids, burst, and they go through the lymphatic system, which is the body's sewage system, to go down to the kidneys to be purged. But that in itself, the process of hydration opens up all of these pockets of acid, and the cells are finally happy to purge what they need to purge. The body's finally happy, but this purge can cause a lot of symptoms because all of these toxins are now in the system, and you may feel basically worse before you feel better, and you see the changes to the body. So that's why it's called a healing crisis, and these are healing symptoms, and they're very temporary. But a lot of people could think, oh no, what am I doing? This is not working. This is making me feel unhealthy. I am, I'm getting a cough, I'm getting, sniffles. And it's because the body's just trying to purge the mucus and all of the stuff out. And it's still in your system, it's circulating through the system. But once you continue, you do it for long enough, you'll see all of the effects. Everything will start, all of the chronic issues will start reversing themselves, and you'll see the effects. But depending on the chronic state of the body, you may see worse symptoms. It's inevitable. You may see quite the worst symptoms before you feel better. If you're not as chronic, you may have milder symptoms such as emotional, sensitivity, maybe shakiness, maybe, not feeling optimal, feeling a bit run down in your energy levels. And it's because the body's just getting adjusted to the hydration and purging of all those toxins. So, and what happens when people say, well, I'm on this, plant-based diet and I'm actually feeling worse. And I felt so good on my, animal diet and it was wonderful. It's because the carnivore or the high acidic diet is incredibly suppressive. So what the body does, it kind of compensates and suppresses because it can't heal. When it suppresses, you don't feel those symptoms until it's too late. So basically, it's not really what people think. Putting in good chemistry means you're going to feel worse because the body is releasing all that it doesn't want and it's purging it out. So because of the suppression, people feel better, but it's not because of that they're actually healthier. So it all comes down to understanding the alkaline side of chemistry, which is, giving enough energy to the body to correct its processes and to revitalize itself. And then the acidic side of chemistry. So if every day you set out, on this journey to say, wow, I've been feeling very acidic lately. What can I do to make myself more alkaline? And you start maybe feeling better emotions, thinking better thoughts. Maybe you decide, I want to go out for a walk. You refresh yourself. You eat a salad, organic salad, a couple of fruits. You feel really good, and you actually feel full. Many people also have that misconception that if you eat salads and fruits, you're not going to be full. But actually, they provide a lot of nutrition, and your body gets full sooner than you would if you had like a full course meal. What happens if you have a full course complex meal? You may feel full, but then in like 3-4 hours, you may feel those hunger pains. It's because the body didn't get the right nutrition. That's why you're hungry after having so much food. But if you eat a salad with all, the goodness, and you have the avocado, the fats, and you have all those, rainbow nutritional aspects of a salad, you would feel, that's how I feel. And I feel like a lot of people that I spoke to that, converted to mostly plant-based diet feel the same way. You can have a small salad and a banana and feel pretty full for 4 hours versus if you had a big meal, you feel full for 2-3, and then 4 or 5, after 4 or 5 hours, you have to eat dinner, and it's also a huge meal because you didn't get the nutrients. The body's always asking for nutrients, and if it doesn't get them, it's going to feel hungry. And that's the sign that, if you're eating too much and you're constantly hungry, it means you're not getting the right nutrients. So it's all about really that complexity in terms of what vitamins, what minerals, it's all in nature, and you have to really listen to what your body craves. So if I crave more, let's say oranges, I'm really dehydrated. I really want that vitamin C. I really want those nutrients. So you listen to your body. You don't listen to, somebody in the scientific studies or somebody, who's paid by the government to come up with, which nutritional value is best to keep. You pay attention to your body. You pay attention to what feels right. You go to a supermarket, you observe, and you feel, okay, I'm really up for cabbage. It's because maybe your gut needs a little cleaning. So you have that relationship with your food because it's your fuel, and only you know what is best for you. And then you experiment. So don't think like, oh, I'm gonna just do this, and it's been recommended by that nutritional person and they know what they're doing. You experiment. If you feel it's good for you, go with it. If you feel you can adjust to it and you can do something a bit different, you do that. So you never really, the health coach is your guide, but you are the person really nourishing yourself. So you are the hero in your journey. So that's kind of my perspective on health. It's actually very simple. And if, depending on people's journeys and people's ways of their relationship with their food and their lifestyle, it may seem complex to really ease into healing. But actually, if you make those small steps and if you kind of do what you like, and then you see the changes, and then you incorporate something else, eventually you're going to really, really like it. You're going to see those changes. You're going to be motivated. So it doesn't have to be this radical, I'm going to go on this 30-day cleanse and I'm going to clean my body. You can start slow. It should be slow. Incorporating things that you feel like your body needs, letting go of things your body doesn't need, and then slowly, seeing those effects. And then incorporating new habits, and then extra new habits. And then, so go small. And I think a lot of people do give up because they go too fast and they crash, and they're not actually creating the habit associated with the new food that lets them feel good about themselves. They're kind of thinking of it as like a marathon, or another project, another thing they have to conquer. Instead, you have to build micro habits that really get you to incorporate a healthy lifestyle as your future. So that's where a lot of people give up, and I really hope they don't, because it really just takes a small step at a time. So that's pretty much the gist of it. There's so much complexity to it, but in terms of just explaining things, but health is really simple. It really is.
Thank you, Anesa. I love this micro habits thing. I loved a lot of things that you were saying. I mean, for me, one of the things that immediately came up was like, oh, so we always make these lists to go to the grocery store, and we make it from our heads. What makes sense, what we want to cook. Maybe we like something that we're thinking about cooking and we're excited about it, but like I don't think I've gone to the grocery store from time to time without a list, just because I wasn't, but then that always, I don't know, I get stuck in like paralysis of like what to buy.
Right.
But I think going to it without a list with the intention of like listening to my body might be a really fun thing to try. Like, what am I actually gravitating towards? Not what I think I need or what I know has worked for me in the past, but like, what actually am I being drawn to now? Seems so intriguing to me. I'm really excited to try it out.
Absolutely.
So I had a question about alkaline water. There's always talk about alkaline, and
Right.
I was getting ready to jump on that bandwagon, but then I read somewhere, and he's a nurse, and he was saying how you shouldn't drink it every day.
Yeah, I do agree. So there's a controversy between what is the pH balance of water in nature versus what people are doing now in terms of capitalizing on this alkaline diet craze. So there are a lot of companies creating alkaline water, and from my study of it, it's not necessarily the best to put in your body because of just how they fortify, how they try to change the real pH balance of water, which at its natural state is slightly acidic, which people don't even think. But it's because the way, it's not necessarily, let's say oranges, they seem acidic, right?
Mm-hmm.
The taste is acidic, but the body incorporates them in a way that's alkaline because they have an alkaline ash process in the body, meaning the way they're absorbed and they work in the body is alkaline. But they may seem acidic to some people. And people can say, oh, the fruit is so acidic. But what they mean is the taste, not necessarily the chemistry. So water is the same. It has a slightly negative pH. And it's supposed to interact with our body in a way that helps bind certain elements in its way that, it's supposed to make us healthy. So it's not necessarily the chemistry of it. So you can measure the pH of alkaline water and see that it's alkaline. It's how it interacts with the body. And I would say the same with fortified food, where you see that there's fortification, they add a lot of different nutrients, vitamins. those are all additives, so they're not natural. And the way that the body is going to process them, similar with supplements, is in a different way that it would process something from nature. So if you take, let's say, supplements for vitamin C, but they're the form of such, absorbic acid, or, a certain vitamin C type of a extract, it's not going to have the same effect as if you had an orange, because an orange has other elements of nutrition and other vitamins that actually help the body to assimilate the vitamin C. And the vitamin C also helps the other elements in the orange be assimilated. So they work together. That's why fruits and vegetables, there's no substitute. And all these supplement companies try to create those substitutes, but they're just making a lot of money because it may not work. It could work in some way, certain, supplements, but really you want to get the holistic effect of a fruit or a vegetable. And that's why if you do supplements, I recommend you do whole foods. So whole foods in terms of, they just grind all the fruits and vegetables, they dry them, and then you put that in your smoothie. And that's the best way, because it's actually using the real fruit and vegetable as a source. So alkaline water, there's still controversy. I don't think it is good for you. I would go with spring water or distilled water. So distilled water, it has, some people say, okay, it doesn't have the nutrients, it doesn't have the natural minerals that, spring water has, but it's because it's a very, basically you use the water that comes from rain, naturally how you would use rainwater, and it evaporates and comes down. So it's very natural. It doesn't have those elements. And what people think, because it doesn't, it's going to leach a lot of those nutrients from the body and expel them. But it's actually the best water, distilled water, to do on a cleanse, because the water is really good for washing out all of those, calciums, artificial bicarbonates, all the things that are maybe stuck in our body that are not the best. And so the water can bind to them, distilled water, and can flush them out. Once you feel you have a really good a cleanse, and you feel better, and you feel, okay, maybe I can start doing more minerals, you can do spring water. So what I've been doing is at times distilled when I feel like I need more of a detox, and then when I feel like I need more fortification, natural spring water. But yeah, alkaline water, I think it's a craze. I don't think it's actually that healthy.
In the Chinese horoscope, I'm a tiger. And I'm also I'm a hunter, because I'm a type blood O. So these two combined together make me a carnivore with meat.
Right.
So it's for me, and because I'm a therapist also, after my sessions, like I really feel better after I meet, when I transfer energy to someone, and I need some for myself. And so I wanted to ask you about grains. Like, I know everybody says, oh, like my nutritionist said, have like a smoothie of oatmeal, just put oatmeal in water and then blend it with something and then eat it. But for me, I have this really strange reaction where after I have oatmeal or any kind of oat, I get really, really hungry. Like I'm better off not having anything at all.
Right.
And then I just get like headache and just like withdrawn. Like I get like kind of like hypoglycemic symptoms. So really quickly, I just wanted to see your take on this.
So there's so much to that, and I know, Karen, I'm sorry, I know we don't have much time. So I'm going to tackle first the meats. Yes, some people do have the body types to be more aligned with that kind of diet. So they're going to be more attracted to that kind of diet. And the reason is if you have a very adrenally charged job or lifestyle, especially a body that kind of craves that energy, you're going to be drawn to meats. What meat does, this is kind of my take on the whole, meat gives you energy, meat is good for you. Meat is actually very hard on the body to process. So it does take a lot of energy to assimilate. What it does, why people feel really good after eating meat, is that it has a lot of adrenaline. So when the animal is killed, the adrenals, it's very afraid. So the adrenals are pumped. So all of that energy, all of that, being scared and being is pumped into tissues. So that's the same with us. We have the fight or flight. We get really scared, and so all of that is going to be in the tissue when people consume it. So most people are very adrenally challenged, meaning their adrenals don't work properly because of stress, because of the modern lifestyle, meaning because the adrenals sit on top of kidneys, it impacts kidney function. And you need really good kidneys to, assimilate proteins and get rid of toxins and chemicals from the body. So it helps, actually, it gives the body adrenaline, meaning the body doesn't have to pump its own. So adrenals don't have to work. So for you, it gives you that, oh, okay, I have the adrenals, and then you feel better. But it's a temporary solution, because if you eat meat all the time and that's your diet, you still get the acidity from all of that being processed in the colon and the kidneys. So it's a temporary measure that makes people feel really good, but actually in the long term can cause, a lot of issues, that. So if you keep that to a minimum, and instead of the meats, you actually have more fruit instead of the grains. And this is why fruit, and I'm a huge believer and lover of fruit, fruit has simple sugars. It doesn't have the complex sugars that cause diabetes. So you can actually really serve diabetes by eating simple fruits. And that's all in my blog. And you can, simple sugars, which are in fruits. What fruits do is they don't take a lot of digestion. When they're processed by the body, they take 30 minutes to be absorbed. The cells take all the simple sugars. They don't use insulin to be processed. So, people with diabetes could actually help their diabetes by eating fruits. And it's very energizing. So it gives the body a boost of energy. Grains are actually not the best to do on a detox. And this is why they're a bit on the acidic side. And if you think about, grain-free food for dogs and cats, why do we give grain-free to dogs and cats? Because of their kidneys and their, because basically they are carnivores and dogs are omnivores. They have propensity to eat a lot of protein. So the grain-free helps alleviate some of that. Grains are pretty complex to digest. So if you do eat them as a healthy person, I would say okay. But if you're going to go on a detox, I would say do fruits and veggies. That's the best way you can energize your body completely. That's the best way to give your body the energy it needs to heal if you have a certain chronic condition. And the way you slow down a detox is to eat more grains, eat more cooked food. So go raw and go if you really, really want to get better, if you really want to use that energy for just whole body healing, go fruit, but ease into the fruits. And have fruits in the morning, because fruits will energize you for the whole day. So if you have that in the morning, as I discussed with Karen, it's going to give you all the energy you need to run the day, and you don't need to then have a lot of the meats. So so it's about like thinking, which food will give me what I need in the healthiest way long term. So for you, I would say, Vanessa, definitely, if you have dates, like dates are really good snacks, and they're a burst of energy. They're so good for kidneys. They're amazing for adrenals. So if you just munch on dates, you're gonna feel energized right away. Citrus in the morning, like flush that body out. Not a lot of protein, stay away. But if you do the protein, the next day do something simpler. So kind of mediate your body, like leave the body to actually have some space to have a break, to get back into its, uh, best functioning mode. So yeah.
Thank you.
So let's turn our attention inward for a second, and I'm going to invite you to close your eyes, and we're going to do a bit of a visualization here. See, maybe wiggle your body out a little bit. If you need to move anything, feel free to do that. I always like to give myself a little shake. And just feel yourself relax into your body. And if you'd like to, I think it's nice to put your hands like on your stomach just to feel your breath moving in and out of your body. And visualize yourself breathing in lots of love for this body, for everything it does for you, for everywhere it takes you, for being your vessel here on earth, the home of your soul and your spirit and all the lovely things that you are. Let's just give some love for our body as we breathe in. And as we breathe out, imagine giving love to everybody else's bodies too. We live in a world that judges these things up and down, left and right all day long. Let's just breathe in love for our own body and breathe out love for everybody else's body. Appreciating the differences and the similarities and our common struggles and our common celebrations with our bodies. And as you're breathing, I want you to bring to mind something, just let the first thing percolate in your mind. That is a bigger reason for why you're interested in easing into better health. Anesa was talking about, building these habits, and habits stick when there's, good strategies for implementing them, and also when there's real purpose behind them. And then when there's a bigger why that you can plug into, that is not necessarily even fear-based, but that it gets you excited. Get you excited. See what that bigger why is for you in your minds, and see what you see in relation to it. What does your imagination show you that you're doing or feeling with this bigger why? And as you start to see something, I'm going to invite you to slowly blink your eyes open and doodle about it for 5 minutes, following your doodle wherever it goes, just inspired by this bigger why that came up, what you saw there, what you're feeling, where you might want to go with it. And don't worry about where it takes you. Be curious on the journey for 5 minutes. As you finish up, I'm going to explain the sharing portion of this. So we're going to do it a little different because I think everybody needs to really own their big why. And that's something that has to come from you. So what I'm going to invite you all to do, if you want to, is to share your doodle and talk about your big why. And if you want to, after you talk about it, you can invite other people to make comments in relation to what you said, things that would reinforce, things that they see that might help you in really grounding in that bigger why, things that they notice about it that can get you even more excited about why you want to ease into health. Sound good? Make a sense of? Sounds it? Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be in health, in good health, so that I can be whole and connect with other people. In happiness and healthy, and not just complain about woes and pains. And so that would be, I think I started this one. And then, it could be like different people, different women, that it could be friendships, family, or clients. And then I started drawing, and I wasn't really sure what I was doing there, but it ended up being, I think, when you go play golf and you like set your terrain, it's like you put your flag. That's kind of the flag of setting boundaries, of women just kind of, I remember we talked about it earlier, and Anesa mentioned that in health, in setting healthy boundaries. So for me, it's important to be able to set healthy boundaries for myself, and then also teach other women how to do that for themselves. And that way we can be just in better communion and just like better friends, and setting our territory is basically the idea of that. I don't know, it just kind of came about like that. I wasn't really thinking or planning, it just kind of set out that way. So that's kind of my why.
I love it. Are you open to other people commenting?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm totally open to
Okay, so anybody, you're welcome to say things that you notice about it. If it means something to you in relation to what Vanessa has shared.
Had to unmute myself. I like the fact that there's like this circular motion, and it reminds me of playing Ring Around the Rosie, and just being connected and being able to enjoy life in community. I love the boundary flag.
Me too. I was going to say the strong boundaries. That is really, that's part of energy. So what you're doing with diet, you're doing with health. It's all about keeping the energy safe. And that's done a lot of the times through boundaries, knowing where energy goes and where energy comes in. So I think most people, could work on that as part of their health improvement. I think a lot of us can, especially as women, tend to give of our time and energy. So knowing kind of when to conserve that so we can show up better for other people and for ourselves. So I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah. What a beautiful big why. This like desire, this innate human desire for real connection, and to be of service. I think you really speak to two really big whys there that are resonant for most people. And this, to me, I love the juxtaposition of this like playfulness and this like structure, this like, it's like how the question that comes up for me is like, how do I hold my wholeness sacred? Like, how do I hold my energy and my wholeness sacred? So that's also how I connect with other people and how other people connect with me.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. Actually, mine kind of corresponds to yours in some ways. So, people have another misconception, which is that health coaches or people who work with nutrition, people who've been doing this for a long time, are perfectly healthy. And I just want to mention that it's definitely a process. You may have had, many health setbacks years ago. Now you're like at 80%, and it's an ongoing journey. So to stick with that ongoing journey, to make sure that, you're still getting, you're not there 100%, and you can empathize with people who are just starting out, and then keeping yourself, aligned to that journey. So then that you can help other people, which is on this side. You have the energy, you have the strength, you have the, wholeness to be able to show up for other people right here. Yes. That is the vision. So being in nature, meditating on, what is the next step for me in my healing journey? How can I kind of show up more for myself? How can I integrate more of these health practices to feel even better, to feel more capable? And then because of that, you can help other people. You can really be there for them. You understand all they're going through. So that's pretty much my little doodle.
That's beautiful. Can we say things we see in it?
Sure, of course.
The floor is open, y'all. What do you see? Or what's jumping out for you, resonating for you?
Well, for me, what's jumping out is the hairdo.
Yes, thank you.
I know it's like supposed to be you today, but if you look at the hair, it's kind of symbolism of an older lady, like usually put a hair up like that in a bun, and so in a way, it's kind of a wisdom. It's kind of a wisdom that you're acquiring every day for yourself. But it's like you already have the wisdom of older lady, so to speak, so that you can impart it to others and share it to other people. So there's that kind of peacefulness that, a lot of older people have, that we need to, get experience in life in order to get there. That's kind of what I saw.
That's beautiful. Thank you. I didn't even think of that, but it does kind of pertain to the symbolism. And I tend to put my hair up sometimes like that. And I think it is during times of thinking and contemplating.
Yeah, I resonate with it feels very peaceful to me. And it makes me think about how when we feel healthy, we feel that sense of peace, and all of us want to feel that more peaceful within, no matter what's going on, without to have that inner sense of peace, of like knowing that I'm doing what I can do for myself is always peaceful. It's a peaceful feeling to have.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Can I add one more thought?
Yeah.
I was just going to say how the two thought bubbles, I love the thought bubbles because it reminds me of how we have to intentionally create our thoughts to be like thinking of good things. And actually they'll like exude from us, having stinking thinking, having intentional thinking. Wait, I can't hear you.
Thoughts are things. It's so true.
I couldn't hear what you said, Karen.
Oh, I never heard stinking thinking, and I love it so much.
Oh yeah. Thinking. And how if we intentionally meditate on the good stuff and the positive, like the yes that you have in there, that reminds me of positive thoughts and positive thoughts about people and just positivity. It'll exude from our lives.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
You have to keep those thoughts alive, Yeah.
I did it on the same page, so ignore the Pac-Man.
Love the Pac-Man. We'll never ignore him.
So at the bottom, this is just my why is just wanting to stay moving, because it's like if you don't move, that's the starting process of just dying. So I just want to stay moving, whether it be, these balls represent my energy, whether life brings peaks and valleys, whether life is going smooth, and then, just emerging in a springy frenzy, so that my energy can stay light and buoyant and thriving and just alive, full of life. So that's my doodle.
Love it. Can we comment?
Oh, sure.
I'm so curious about the shapes below the springs. I keep trying to make like,
Go ahead.
Me, they feel like these, I don't know, what comes to mind is like the ability to have these abstract ideas sort of spring to life, because they're very abstract to me, which sometimes it takes a lot of energy, right? Like when we have sort of an idea of what we want, but we have to hone it and like work on it and shape it and mold it. And like having the energy to do that, you know, requires some health, requires feeling like, okay, I can devote some of my life to it. And I have energy for it. It's just something that I'm thinking about.
Yeah, those were like, that was my version of something like quivering and vibrating.
Yeah, the energy.
Yeah,
Actually,
energy.
yeah, I completely, Nikki, resonate with that because it's the movement, you know, that's the most important thing. And I feel physiologically, if you don't move, mentally, if you don't move, take action, you tend to kind of stagnate because mentality and physiology are connected. So if we're like sitting all day, especially all of us working remotely, a lot of us,
Yeah.
or, you know, we're working from home, we tend to, our minds tend to kind of quiet down and we tend to kind of not be as active mentally, kind of just because our physiology is not out there. We're not moving much. So we're not, the activity here is more subdued. So you tend to kind of fall into those patterns of being stuck, of being, you know, more kind of not being in a rut, not seeing like the movement forward. So I think that's extremely important. Just keep yourself moving, keep yourself thinking actively, all of that. That's a mantra for me. That's my 2023 resolution. Just keep moving the body, moving the mind in a positive direction.
And
so I love that.
Staying engaged. Yeah.
Definitely staying engaged.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, because I feel like even if it's the tiniest movement, if we just feel like we're even taking the tiniest movement towards things we want, it's satisfying. Like speaking to what you said about those micro habits, like it's, you know, people think, oh, I have to achieve this thing before I feel happy or satisfied. No, you're happy and satisfied if you just feel like you're on the path most of the time.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Process, not the destination. Right.
Yeah. Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when you were saying visualize what you see, and all I could see was a head of lettuce.
I like it.
I started to draw the lettuce, and then I thought, well, what kind of vegetables do I know? I mean, we eat vegetables, but not like at our meals, but that's about the only time we eat vegetables. So I was thinking, what kind of vegetables do I know about? You know, so I'd have big old lettuce and little cherry tomatoes and carrots and celery and cucumbers. That was all I could think about. So I ended up doing that, and I was thinking, wow, I really don't know my vegetables, do I? So I thought, well, what we could do is incorporate more different kinds of vegetables that I don't really know or even know how to cook, but it's a learning process. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Do you mind if we comment?
No, I don't.
It just reminds me of like years ago, I had a partner who really wanted to do a month detox during which we would be vegan. And I realized at that point that I had no idea how to eat that way. Like, just remember, like, you're just bringing me back to that space of being like, well, I could make a salad. Like, you know, like what else am I going to do with that? But, you know, and it because for me, it was such a short amount of time that we were doing. It wasn't like my whole life. It didn't feel overwhelming to like try something and like learn. And it actually stimulated creativity. And I actually learned that I liked way more things than I thought I did, just because I was raised mostly eating canned vegetables. And I didn't think I liked those things. But then when I had them fresh, I was like, oh, those are good. So it was very stimulating. And then some of those things continued. Actually, a lot of it did continue throughout my life. But yeah, I appreciate that. I've totally been in that spot of just being like, wait, I don't actually have a lot of variety of things to choose from when I think about what I'm used to.
Yeah, it sparked the word curiosity for me. And that's a part of our growth as humans, just staying curious and learning and adding in more and evolving, you know, to get better, to be our better selves.
I actually saw a vegetable bin. If you put it up again, just so I can see. Yeah, it's like a vegetable man that's like, it's got its tentacles everywhere. Like vegetable man is trying to take over the world.
I like that.
Vegetable man
Yeah,
hero.
it's just my salary. It's just my salary.
It's great. It also like there's sort of layers to it, which I really appreciate too in this conversation. It's like, you know, just one layer at a time, just sort of peeling one thing at a time and seeing what happens. I like your whole approach of really experimenting, Anesa. I think that's really beautiful, of just going and trying one little thing and seeing what happens and how it makes
Small
us
step.
feel. All right, well, I want to do one more thing with y'all. So I'm going to have you go ahead and look at your doodle for a second and just take it in, just enjoy it. There's no judgment. We're not trying to figure out everything that it means right now. I just want you to think about your big why while you're looking at it, though. Think about that big why. And go ahead and close your eyes. We're just going to ask our brain to give us one little small action that we can do this week to ease, that would be easy for our health. That would bring us closer to that big why. One little tiny action we can take this week. Let your brain just give you one little thing. And when you feel like you have it, you can write it down for yourself. And
I have this app called Asana Rebel, and it has like meditation and yoga, and it's like a fitness app. And so I've had it all year, didn't use it at all, but they renewed it without my knowing, because I didn't know how to cancel it. And so I was mad that I had to go ahead and pay for it. So I'm going to just add that in, add some of their fitness exercises and meditation sessions for the days that I don't go to the studio. Yeah, add those into like as fillers, but for my workout days off.
For me, I mentioned that, you know, part of being healthy is being able to connect with people. And so what it would be the first step that I can take this week would be to relax into being myself and not trying so hard to just please, or like Anesa was saying, be this great therapist or be this great so-and-so, and just be me and just let things come from there without any work at all. Just messing up, like it was my my first thought of the day.
yes.
That's just relax into it. That's my tip for the week, or what I'm going to do.
I'm sure Anesa at some might even be able to steer us in the place of a resource, but I'm sure there's so much to say about relaxation and how that helps your body to process food and free up energy. And it's such, yeah, it's a good one. I
Mine
love
is
it.
just real simple. It's just to find one new vegetable that I don't know how to cook or never heard of. So, I mean, that's the least I can do.
I love it.
That makes me so happy, Mary. Thank you. It's wonderful to you know, explore, to actually get into that. It reminds me when I was little, I really disliked okra. And as an adult, I had this curry in an Indian restaurant, and it was a okra curry, and I loved it. And I was like, I have to make this for myself. And how our tastes shift over time, and how just exploring and trying something new can really uncover a lot. So I'm happy.
Sort
Good
of on
job.
that note, I really just want to go to the grocery store different this week. Like I want to go really like curious, not with like this agenda and this task that I have to get through real fast, but like with more curiosity, being like, what am I drawn to? And see what happens.
Same line, kind of just to enjoy the process. You know, you may be traveling, you may be, you know, not in your comfort zone, you may not be, you know, have certain expectations in terms of, you know, your daily habits and life. And sometimes it can get overwhelming, like, oh, I have to do all these new things. And to just kind of sit down and relax and enjoy the process and understand, you know, that these shifts happen, and to take pleasure in the process, not to kind of look at the end and kind of just have the end in mind and and have a goal, but kind of just enjoy the process towards that. So
take the
kinda like sharing
spirit
what
of
you-
a doodle into your
I
health.
know.
Take the spirit of a doodle into your health.
100%.
All right, you guys. Thank you, Anesa, so much for all this
Oh, you're
amazing
welcome.
information. Thank you also all of you who joined me here in this live space for lending your creativity and your questions and your ideas. It really enriches our time, so I appreciate it. Thank you everyone out there who is listening to the Doodling to Doing Doodlecast, and maybe we'll see you again soon. So have a good day, everyone.